Hi all you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Elaine, and today I'm going to be talking about the light novel See You When the Snow Falls by Onii sanbomber. The protagonist of our story is a high schooler named Yamato Satoshi, who finds the spirit of a snow maiden, Yuki, in the mountains near Nagano. She has unfinished business, which has kept her from passing on. Before she can pass on, she must try all of the beverages in the local vending machines. Since Satoshi is the only one who can see her, he decides to try and help her. As a result, he visits each winter whenever he has the chance, bringing beverages, which he hopes will allow her to shed whatever coil binds her to the world. As time passes and Satoshi continues to lend Yuki his aid, he struggles with his own problems, mainly those that involve growing up. Each straddle two very different worlds, youth and adulthood, the realm between the living and the dead. The light novel tells the story of these two individuals, one living and one dead, and allows its readers to explore their steadily shifting world alongside them. I would argue that at its core, See You When the Snow Falls is a coming-of-age story. It follows Satoshi through his school years into his adult life, shows him mature, from a youth to an adult. The story describes the numerous missteps he makes during his childhood, such as neglecting his girlfriend and other relationships, and the important lessons he learns from his mistakes, and applies to the experiences he has later in life. I would also argue that it is an extremely flawed novel for several different reasons. The first revolves around Satoshi's obsession with helping Yuki. The back cover of the novel describes his interest in helping her as something that stems from his realization that there is no one else around to do it. When I was reading the story, I didn't get that impression. I concluded that he had chosen to help Yuki because he was kind-hearted. Helping her was simply something in his nature. And while I can respect this and this aspect of Satoshi's character, I didn't feel as though the lengths he went to help always made the most sense, since he had just met her and they had no history together, and especially when he was faced with so many obstacles and danger. It also felt like a weak reason for helping someone. I wish the author had come up with something more complex and or multi-layered. For example, Satoshi could have been kind-hearted and prone to assisting others by his very nature, and Yuki could have reminded him of someone he deeply cared about, like a childhood friend, tugging at his heartstrings and prompting him to go the extra mile for her, despite the risks. I also didn't understand why Satoshi didn't look to the internet for assistance in finding the information he needed to uncover the mystery surrounding Yuki, and why he didn't ask for help from Miyazono or his family. I can understand why he'd want to keep Yuki a secret, to keep from seeming insane, but not why he wouldn't ask for help and leave her name out of the picture to help her move on more swiftly, to accomplish his overall goal more swiftly and efficiently. I also felt as though the story's premise was entirely nonsensical. Basically, Satoshi finds a spirit in the forest who can't pass on until she has tried all the drinks in the local vending machines. This idea isn't exactly novel. There are countless stories of ghosts who can't pass on until their unfinished business is completed. Yes, Yuki's reason for being unable to pass on is peculiar to say the very least, but that's not the issue. The issue I have with the story stems from a conversation Yuki has with Satoshi relatively early on in the novel. She says, "I suppose you won't understand because you've never died before. When you die, you'll find that death is freedom. I am released from whatever worries I had in life. Death gives you perspective. Once you are dead, nothing matters anymore. Your heart is freed, and you see yourself in the world for what it truly is." That's on page 67. Through her words, Yuki expresses how the things that were once important to her in life have grown meaningless in death. This means that both the big things, like friends and family, lack meaning, as do the little things in life, like what she ate for breakfast last Tuesday. There is nothing in her life that maintains any sort of importance because nothing matters anymore. If this is the case, if nothing truly matters, then she shouldn't need to try the drinks from the local vending machines before she can move on. There should be nothing tying her to the realm of the living. There should be nothing that can keep her from moving on, since her heart has been freed in death. Another issue I had with the novel was its flow. It's riddled with grammatical errors. Whether it's the author's fault or a fault with the translation from its original language into English is unclear, but it was certainly noticeable. There are numerous instances where words were placed out of their proper sequence or omitted entirely, instances where the author shifted tenses when they shouldn't have, instances where verb tenses didn't agree with the rest of the sentence's structure, spelling errors, etc. Ultimately, I am left wishing a little more care had been put into the editing process. The final issue I had with the novel was its ending. I felt like it was rushed, that it ended abruptly and wasn't satisfying. I think the novel could have benefited from trimming out the fat from earlier in its pages, the chapters and passages that added nothing and took up space, and moving that text, the word count, toward the end of the novel to help flesh things out and keep the end of the story from feeling so rushed. Ultimately, I gave this one a 3 out of 5 star rating. I can't say I was satisfied with the story. I often felt bored and found myself drifting off. I simply can't recommend it to all you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens. And there you have it, my review is See You When the Snow Falls by Onii Sanbomber. What did you think of my review? Did I leave anything out? What do you think of this novel if you've read it? What do you think of Onii Sanbomber's other works if you've read them? Let me know down below in the comments. I always like to know what you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens think. And if you like what you saw here today, please smash that like button until it's blue, subscribe, ring that bell so you'll always know what's up, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye guys!